Gita sessions. But as and when the appearance days and disappearance days come of Acharya, of the Lord Himself, then it's customary that we discuss about the mood of that particular devotee or incarnation of the Lord. And following in the footsteps of that tradition, I wish to spend today's class on glorifying Shrivas Pandit. So let us do small Mangalacharan and then we will start. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jai Prahlad Nrsimha Jai Anantadev Prahlad Nrsimha Jai Anantadev Jai Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Subhadra Mai Jai Sudarshana Jai Radha Madhava Ashtasakhi Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Namaha Om Vishnu Padai Krishna Preshthai Bhutale श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. It's going to be a very easy class, but a very profound one. Easy because Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are amazingly sweet and very easy to, they can be understood even by a child. So, and they are very, very relishable. So, therefore, you won't have to tax your brain on what is Brahman and what is Sachidanand and all of those things today. So, here we are talking about the incarnation of Narad Muni, who appeared in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the name Shrivas Pandit. And Shrivas Pandit appeared in Shrihatta town, which is in Bangladesh. And now it is called Sylhet. And similarly, the names with the in the due course of time, they get distorted. So and another distorted name is Chittagong. Uh, so, but the point is that at the house of Jaladhar Pandit, these four brothers, you know, took birth, and their names were Shrinidhi, Shripati, Shri Ram, and Shrivas. And they would all have the title called Pandit. This is almost 50 years prior to Lord Chaitanya's appearance, which took place in 1486. So here we are talking about 1436, 1440, some that kind of a period. And Srivas Pandit moved to Sri Navadvip Dham along with his brother Sri Ram Pandit. And Sri Ram Pandit is the incarnation of Parvat Muni. So Narad Muni and Parvat Muni are very close friends in the Vaikuntha realm. And here also they lived together in Navadvip. And in fact, not only they lived together, but they experienced Lord's sweet pastimes also together. So when they came to Navadvip and Lord Chaitanya appeared, then in his youth, while he appeared, he made arrangements that he would appear on the day of eclipse. And the tradition was that those who are very, very pious, they would be standing, you know, west deep, you can say, in the river, and would be chanting the holy names. And the others who will be making fun of them, somehow at that moment they will also be chanting, though disrespectfully. So the Lord chose that kind of a time when, knowingly or unknowingly, everybody in that town was chanting the holy names. And as Lord Mahaprabhu appeared, so right after that, he would perform another pastime where he will continuously cry, and he will only be pacified and he will be silent when someone amongst the various ladies of the neighborhood, somebody would chant the holy names loudly or sing to him. So when someone would sing names of Krishna, then the baby Nimai would be silent, but otherwise he would not be. He will keep on crying. So it appears that Lord Chaitanya was from day one propagating the glories of the holy name, one way or other. But there comes a twist as he, attains the age of 4 or 5, where he becomes very, very mischievous and naughty. And ultimately, when the neighborhood people complain way too frequently, and then complaints started coming from, you know, uh, people who were there to take bath at the Ganga river, and they would complain that Nimai has become very, very mischievous, and those young ladies, unmarried young ladies who come to worship Mother Parvati, he disturbs them as well. Then his father Jagannath Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father, he thought of putting him in a school being run by a devotee called Gangadas. In fact, Chaitanya Bhagavat describes Gangadas as Mahabhagyavan because Lord Chaitanya is the teacher of all the universes, and Gangadas had the good fortune to teach the teacher of the whole world. So that's how he has been termed as Mahabhagyavan. And from here, as I was telling you, the twist occurred that as Lord Chaitanya learned Nyay, Alankar, Vyakaran, etc., he became, apparently, he became puffed up. Apparently, not really. So he would then set a topic and he will call people and he'll say, why don't you say something in the favor of that topic? And the opponent would say, and Lord Chaitanya would defeat him. And his name was, because he was very knowledgeable. And the biggest miracle was that the very Gangadas who started teaching him, in a short while, Lord Chaitanya was teaching him back. That he was naturally so brilliant. And then Lord Chaitanya would argue, the opponent will concede defeat. Then Mahaprabhu would say, no, but you are right. And then Mahaprabhu will prove how he was right and Mahaprabhu was wrong. Then that opponent would say, yeah, now I know. Then Mahaprabhu said, no, wait a minute, but you were wrong. So 3, 4 times he would do like that. And he will, relish this rasa of his own intellectual opulence. This is very counterintuitive. But Lord is independent and he enjoys the way he wishes to enjoy. People in and around Navadvip region, which was, in one sense, you can say the Harvard, the MIT, the Oxford of the world, because the best of the best colleges were in Navadvip at that time, and people from all over the world would come to study. This I'm talking about 500 and some 90 years back, or not 90, sorry, 540 years back. So at such a place, he was unbeatable. Nobody could defeat him. So once a very renowned personality known as Keshav Kashmiri, he had this tradition that he would send a letter to the various colleges and educational institutions, challenging them for shastrarth or for discussing grammar. And if somebody could defeat him, it's okay, which was not possible because his name was Digvijay. He was winning in all directions. So when his letter reached Navadvip, at that time the residents, particularly the Brahmins, they thought that this Nimai Pandit is unbeatable, and we are very very jealous of him. Let Keshav Kashmiri come, and we will propose Nimai's name, and when he will defeat Nimai, then this boy will come to his senses. In case Nimai beats Keshav Kashmiri, we will celebrate, and we will tell him that you couldn't defeat even a young boy from our area. Forget about us. Leave. Keshav Kashmiri came, and Nimai Pandit was there surrounded by his students. And with humility, Nimai first bowed down to Keshav Kashmiri. And he looked at this brilliantly beautiful boy and started composing 100 verses in no time, glorifying Ganga. Mahaprabhu appreciated his, you know, prose and his, how should I put it, his dexterity, his mastery over, the language, the composition, the choice of words, and all the different types of literary ornaments, similes and parallels and like that. So, and then Mahaprabhu said, but in that verse number, you mentioned Parvati or Lord Mahadev's name as, you know, the sustainer of Uma, Mahadev, something like that, which means, and he says it has the fault of redundancy. You don't address the same person by two names in one go. It's like saying Nishikant Chandrama. Now it's or I assume Nishikant, though the word Kant has multiple meanings, but one who is dear in the night. That's Nishikant. Is that the right meaning of your name, Nishikant Prabhu?
जी प्रभु जी।
And that means moon.
जी प्रभु जी।
Right. So, but then you don't say Nishikant Chandrama. Nishikant means Chandrama. So then it means you end up saying Chandrama Chandrama. So mistakenly, Keshav Kashmiri did that. He addressed Lord Shiva with two names, same meaning, and therefore Lord Chaitanya says this has the fault of redundancy. And Keshav Kashmiri's jaw dropped because he said, I did not make him right. I was just composing and simultaneously saying the verses. He knows the number, he knows exact fault. And then Lord Chaitanya highlighted, first he highlighted all the nice qualities of his poetry. Then he highlighted these faults. And Keshav Kashmiri was, so embarrassed that a young boy was defeating him left, right, and center. Keshav Kashmiri was a great devotee of Mother Saraswati. He went back home and went to sleep, constantly asking Mother Saraswati, what fault did I do that I had to face defeat? In his dream, then Mother Saraswati revealed to him that the fault was that you went and, you know, became an opposition in front of the very person from whom I receive knowledge. So tomorrow morning, you just simply go and surrender unto him. And that's how Keshav Kashmiri came back next morning and surrendered to Nimai Pandit. But Mahaprabhu was still not revealing his core thing. Then he went to Gaya. There he saw there is a place Ekpadi in Gaya where Lord Narayan's 1 foot, you can take darshan of 1 foot. There when he saw devotees, particularly Ishwarpuri, that was the moment when he manifested extreme emotions first time of Krishna bhakti. Tears started rolling down his cheeks. His teeth were chattering. His throat, you know, just got fixed up, as in it didn't it it could not let the air go in or come out. It just blocked. And his whole body was sweating like anything. And his hair had, stood at end. And Mahaprabhu was stunned, neither breathing nor doing any other thing. And he was completely submerged in the love of Krishna. He was so overwhelmed that while returning, a thought crossed his mind, what is the point of going back to Navadvip? Let's go to that place where Krishna perpetually resides. And he made up his mind to go to Vrindavan. As he made up his mind, the Akashvani took place and he heard a voice. He said, though you are the supremely independent Lord Himself, but as per your pastimes, the right time to go to Vrindavan hasn't come yet. Still, you are free and you know you do what you wish to do. Lord Chaitanya, paying heed and giving respect to the Akashvani, gave up the idea and started coming towards Navadvip. The Nimai Pandit, who was so full of himself about his intellectual prowess, the talkative Nimai Pandit, whenever Shrivas Pandit would look at him, this is an amazing thing. Though he was, shattering the pride of many egoistical and egotistical, the difference between egoist and egotist is that Egoist may not boast about himself, but the egotist boasts as well. He is not only full of himself, but he boasts also. Mahaprabhu was beating them left, right, and center through these debates. But whenever he would see a Vaishnav, he will be very calm and he will offer due respect and he will never disturb them. But as it is the feature of a devotee, whenever a devotee sees someone beautiful, not bodily features only, in any discipline, mathematics, painting, singing, anything, then the devotee would think, when this person will become devotee, it will be so pleasing to the Lord. That's how we all think. And that's why we want the whole world to not only experience mercy of Krishna, but also let Krishna receive the best of the service. And in that spirit, Shrivas Pandit one day told Nimai Pandit, he said, young boy, one day, if you use all of your such wonderful logic and knowledge in the service of Krishna, it would be so wonderful. And smilingly, Nimai told Shrivas Pandit, by your blessing, one day that will happen. Saying this, he again, just left that place and started engaging in those debates with all the types of people who were there in Navadvip. But when he returned from Gaya, he met Sri Ram Pandit. And this Nimai was utterly humble. This Nimai was totally helpless. And he said, Sri Ram Pandit, people say that I have become mad. And do you also think so? And I cannot tell people what I feel. But tomorrow at Shuklambar Brahmachari's house, if all you devotees assemble, maybe then I can share. Then he asked this question next day to Shrivas Pandit, that everybody says I have become mad. Because once he returned from Gaya, Shachimata was very concerned, very, very concerned. And she would ask neighbors that, you see my son and tell me what has happened to him. And then people would say, the air movements have gone awry, they have gone wrong in his body. And that's why you must get a measure to massage his body, particularly his head, so that air movements become stable in his body. Then the madness would go away. So when Mahaprabhu asked Srivas Pandit said, indeed, you have gone mad, but I also desire this kind of madness only. And Mahaprabhu said, you have saved my life because I thought if you will also consider me mad as others consider me, then I will just jump into Ganga. But you have understood my heart. And then Lord Chaitanya revealed to them his experience of Gaya. And all the devotees, particularly Sri Ram Pandit, he said, the mercy of Krishna is so amazing that I am seeing a boy turning into a Mahabhagavat, Param Vaishnav. And here is the proof. This is the Nimai Pandit, the puffed up, high headed, arrogant Nimai Pandit, who would defeat people left, right, and center in logic and debate, is today completely humbled, constantly crying, missing Krishna, chanting his names, singing his glories. And he is so humble that he is willing to serve all of us. Devotees became so happy because the environment of Navadvip was very anti preaching. Everybody was busy pursuing education and worshipping Kali. I mean, barely one or two people, barring this small group of devotees, would sometime chant the name Govinda. Otherwise, nobody would do. Seeing this transformation, devotees became very happy. Then Mahaprabhu said that this Shuklambar Brahmachari's place is there, it's good, but this Ekadashi we will go to Shrivas Pandit's house. Shrivas had a tree in his courtyard. That tree will produce fruit, sorry, not fruit, flowers, throughout the year. So devotees, after taking bath in Ganga river, will come pluck the flowers from the tree for worshipping their respective deities, and those flowers will come immediately. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur says that that tree in Shrivas Angan was a kalpataru, desire fulfilling tree. And in this Shrivas Angan, from the day of Ekadashi, Lord Chaitanya started performing kirtan indoors. They will lock the house and full night for one full year. In fact, somewhere it is stated for 13 months. Mahaprabhu, now you can imagine if you can imagine that, what a wonderful scene that would be. Because Lord Chaitanya, when he will start singing, when his associates would dance with him in that courtyard, everybody is experiencing extreme separation. Fainted people on the courtyard, people crying in a corner of the house. Somebody is just, the term in Bengali is gadagadi khai, which means just rolling on the ground constantly. Some are madly, wildly dancing. When Lord Chaitanya would dance in Rath Yatra, or when he would feel separation, sometimes his hands would get extended. He will miss Krishna so much. And sometimes his air in his body, as in he will stop inhaling completely. I mean, 20 streams of tears from one eye is how Mahaprabhu used to cry for Krishna. And he would say, Amar Krishna Kothai, where is my Krishna? Saying this, he will tear apart his clothes and he will start tearing apart his chest as well. He will scratch the chest. And then devotees will, crying and weeping, they will console him. And in a helpless condition, Mahaprabhu would just faint, saying, Oh Krishna, where are you? And this type of amazing pastimes took place in the most fortunate Shrivas Pandit's house. In fact, Mahaprabhu told that I am always available at 4 places. Shachir Mandire, when Shachi Mata would offer bhog to her deities, Shachi Mata was the mother of Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu will invariably be present there. Nitai Nartane, whenever Nityanand Prabhu would dance, then Lord Chaitanya would be there. And Raghav Bhavane, whenever, if you go to Raghav Pandit's house, Lord Chaitanya will be there as well. And Mukunda Kirtane, and wherever Mukunda would perform Kirtan or singing, Mukunda Gayan, At those four places, Mahaprabhu is always present. And Shrivas Pandit was so fortunate. Now, I'm going to start sharing the heart of Shrivas Pandit, his mood of service. Now you have understood that Lord Chaitanya has returned. The river of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life has two banks. One bank is Navadvip and another bank is Jagannath Puri. 24 years Lord Chaitanya performed pastimes in Navadvip, and other 24 years he performed pastimes in Jagannath Puri. So predominantly his Navadvip pastimes have a lot of mention of Srivas Pandit. And now I'm seeking mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Parampara, that may I be able to convey the heart or the core essence of Srivas Pandit's devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. So we will create some hooks, so to say, in the sense that, or you may call them categories. So let's first look at a category of relationships, foregoing relationships, giving up relationships in the service of Mahaprabhu. So in this category, the pastime is that Mahaprabhu started Kirtan in Srivas Pandit's courtyard, and he achieved trance where he was just not able to utter anything and he was completely absorbed. And devotees were doing Kirtan. Mahaprabhu couldn't say anything. And while this glorious Kirtan was going on deep inside Srivas Pandit's house, he heard a voice of few females, few ladies crying. So he went there and he made these statements. He said, "The Lord of the universe is dancing and singing in our courtyard, and he is my Isht. How can you cry in his presence?" So some neighborhood ladies informed him that your son has left body. So Shivas Pandit told his wife that the son has left body, but if your crying disturbs Mahaprabhu's samadhi, then you have already, lost your son and you will lose your husband as well. Outwardly, this may sound like an atrocious statement, but this is what devotees are made of. They do not care for the worldly etiquettes or mundane morality. The servant of Krishna is so super absorbed in his service to his master. Saying this, Srivas Pandit left that place. Mahaprabhu returned from the trance and he said, "The energy of this place is very heavy. Something seems to have happened which should not have happened." Saying this, he went to inside the house and he saw those ladies weeping now, not crying loudly. And he saw the boy dead. He said, "Shivas, when did this happen?" And Shivas Pandit said, "Some 3 hours back." "Why didn't you tell me this?" With all humility mustering at his command, Shrivas Pandit just stood with his head hanging low, and he just said, "My lord, I did not want to disturb your samadhi." Mahaprabhu started crying, and he also uttered a very beautiful quote also. He said, "Shrivas, you love me so much that I am afraid that if someday I have to leave you, how I would ever leave you. Your love is binding me. And Srivas Pandit was just standing there. And then Lord Chaitanya commanded the boy who was lying there that, O soul which has just departed from this body, I order you to come back. And the boy woke up. When the boy woke up, Mahaprabhu said, where were you going? Then that little boy of 10, 11 years age said, everything is as per your direction. And my time had gotten finished in this body, and I am helplessly dependent upon you. So, as per your direction, I was going to the next one. Lord Chaitanya looked at Shrivas Pandit and he said, if you want, your son can survive. And then Shrivas Pandit told Mahaprabhu that in your service, if hundreds of such sons have to die, then so be it, my master. I'm ready. Embracing Shrivas Pandit in his arms, Mahaprabhu declared that from today, me and Nityanand are your two sons, Shrivas Pandit. And you will never miss your child ever again. You always think of us as your children. So much so that Nityanand Prabhu would spend substantial amount of time in Srivas Pandit's house. Srivas Pandit's wife, Mata Malini, her name was Ambika in Krishna Lila, and she was the nurse for Krishna, who took birth as Srivas Pandit's wife. In fact, you will be surprised to now see that Narad Muni, who is actually a brahmachari, chose to have a grahast life to serve Mahaprabhu. It basically means devotees are servants and they don't care whether they are in a brahmachari life or their Lord wants them as grahastha. Whichever way Mahaprabhu wants, we will take that role and serve. That's the hook number one. Foregoing, giving up, letting go, sacrificing our relations in the service of Lord Chaitanya. We may be find today ourselves completely unqualified. We may feel genuinely that this is impossible, but merely by hearing the glorification of Srivas Pandit, somewhere in your heart, the readiness to do something, to give up something for Lord Chaitanya, that readiness has come. By getting inspiration from this pastime, you are more ready to give things in the service of Mahaprabhu. Be it Prabhat Feri, where sometimes once in a month, all you devotees with Kartal and Mridang can go in phase 1 or phase 2 and just sing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because whoever will hear these names will immensely benefit. Don't worry whether you can sing properly or not. Don't worry whether you can, play instruments doesn't matter. Make people hear. Give up shyness by getting inspiration from Srivas Pandit, his activities. Then the second hook, which is giving up the fear of social considerations. Now, that's very difficult for many people. I have prestige, dignity, society, family, clan, kinship, God knows what not. how I dress, how I look, how I talk, how I am accepted, which party, this, that. Nityanand Prabhu was mad. In fact, he is the king of mad people, Avadhut Shiromani, in the love of God. And he was just like a child, just like a child. He would live in Shrivasa. Now, he was grown up. He was not bodily a child at all, perhaps more than 35, 40 years of age. And he would live like a 5 year or maybe a 3 year old baby in Shrivas Pandit's house, doing all types of mischief. In fact, one pastime in a pastime I'm just sharing with you. One day, Shrivas Pandit was very particular about his deity service. So he will keep all the paraphernalia ready. And there was a particular small jar in which he would keep clarified butter, which you call ghee. And one day a crow came and he took that bowl full of ghee and left. And Mother Malini was frightened because she knew that Srivas Pandit is extremely particular about these things. Seeing his mother worried and so concerned and so frightened, sitting somewhere in the courtyard, Nitai just out of nowhere asked, "What happened, mom?" And Mata Malini said, "The crow flew along with the bowl, and now when Srivas Pandit returns, he will be really upset with me." So Nitai just looked up and he said, "Hey, you crow, come back." So the crow actually came back and he put that bowl back and he flew again. Nitai thought, this is a moment of glory for him, like a child. So he said, "You see, mom, do you now accept that I am special?" Mother Malini knew that Nityanand Prabhu is Paramatma, but she was playing that role. So she says, "What's the big deal in it? One who resides in the heart of every living entity can direct that heart to do anything. So why are you taking so much credit?" So though Nitai attempted to get some glory, but he got some insult by that matter. So such, very light-hearted banters would get exchanged between Mother Malini and Nityanand Prabhu. So one day, Lord Chaitanya asked Srivas Pandit that, "Are you not afraid of social image or image loss?" So he said, "Why do you ask, my Lord?" He said, "You keep this mad person Nityanand all the time in your house. Sometimes you're there, sometimes you're not there, just your wife is there. Tomorrow, what if some people say some things?" And you will be amazed to hear what Srivas Pandit said. He said, "My dear Lord Chaitanya, you please do not try to, kind of put me into your Maya. For me, you and Nitai are my children, and children stay at home, and I don't care who says what." Mahaprabhu was so happy. In fact, at one place, Mahaprabhu declared that my Nitai, no matter what kind of mischievous behavior he has, if he is seen in a liquor shop with a prostitute, even then he is worshipable by Brahma, because my Nitai is nishpap always. Like a toddler doesn't understand anything. He doesn't know liquor, he doesn't know woman. Nitai also doesn't know. Nitai is the most smart, but because of the effect of the holy names, he has become childlike. His activities are jovial, joyful, unpredictable. So Lord Chaitanya tested him that your image will be, affected. And these are the fears which every devotee comes across. The fear of losing our core relatives, the fear of losing our image, our status in the society. Oh, so and so project director now dancing on the road like a madman, and people won't like you. Your colleagues, your bosses, your subordinates. But Srivas Pandit had that heart to give up everything for Lord Chaitanya, and he did that. Then the third category, if you look at, that's the category of loss of money. So Mahaprabhu once asked Srivas Pandit, he said, full night I am at your home performing kirtan and you are serving us. Full night. And during the day, you serve your Narayan deity. Srivas, when do you work? And how is your family maintained? Very famous pastime. Srivas Pandit clapped 3 times. But, he clapped. So Mahaprabhu says, what is this 3 clapping? What does that mean? So he said, my dear Lord, if it ever so happens that me and my family do not get anything to eat, then we will drink the water of Ganges or Ganga and sleep thinking we fasted today. The second clap means that if second day also we do not get anything to eat, me and my family, then also we will think that we fasted today as well and we will drink Ganga water and sleep. However, the third clap means, my dear Lord, that if I don't get anything to eat, my family doesn't get anything to eat, then all of us would go to the bank of Ganges or Ganga and we will announce loudly that you, our maintainer, failed to maintain us. Saying this, we will commit suicide in Ganga. Lord Chaitanya got stunned by the response. He was so overwhelmed. Very tightly he embraced Srivas Pandit. And he said, I declare, Srivas, that it may so happen that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, might have to beg door to door. It may happen. But at your home, even a dog of your home will never be hungry. Srivas Pandit purchased Mahaprabhu because Mahaprabhu was testing him. Image loss, relationship loss, money loss. And in each exam, Srivas Pandit was just coming out, with distinction marks, or perhaps much more than that. And Mahaprabhu at many places he has mentioned that forget about Srivas. People who serve Srivas are very dear to me. So one day, after full night kirtan, Mahaprabhu stepped out of Srivas Pandit's house and he saw the tailor. And then he came to know that this tailor stitches clothes for Srivas Pandit. That was his qualification. And instantly Mahaprabhu gave him darshan in the form of Shyam Sundar. And that tailor became completely mad and he started running amok in the street, loudly saying, Ami dekhiachi, Ami dekhiachi. It means, I have seen him, I have seen him. Nobody believed. But from that day, that tailor forever became a pure devotee. Not to talk about Srivas Pandit, even a remote servant of Srivas Pandit, a vendor for that matter. Srivas Pandit had a maid servant called Dukhi. She would fetch water and just put all the pots, in a line. And then devotees would either drink it or use it for abhishek of the Lord, etc. And then one day Mahaprabhu asks, who fills all this water? Srivas Pandit said, Dukhi does it. Mahaprabhu said, what a name is that? What kind of a name is that? In your house, how can she be Dukhi? And then Mahaprabhu changed her name from Dukhi to Sukhi. That day onwards, she started getting known as Sukhi. He would love every member of Srivas Pandit's house. One day, Srivas Pandit got afraid of the Muslim king and the other smart Brahmins who were causing disturbance. And he actually felt like Devaki felt that, Krishna can't protect. Devaki genuinely felt that Kams can kill Krishna. So Srivas Pandit was afraid. So Mahaprabhu reached his home and Srivas Pandit was performing Vishnu Puja. So Mahaprabhu shouted at the door. He said, "To whom you are worshipping is standing at your door. Open the door." And when Srivas Pandit opened the door, he saw Lord Chaitanya in the four-armed Narayan form. And he bowed down at Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And then Mahaprabhu sat with all the shaligrams in his lap. And he says, "Now you worship." So sometimes Lord Chaitanya was very humble. And when he will be in the Ishwar Bhav, at that time, he will be very, very bold. And then Mahaprabhu told him, "I know you are afraid of the Muslim king and the smart Brahmins, and you think they can harm me. But let me tell you, they are making a plan to catch you and take you to the king's court. But when they will come, I will go in your place. First, I will be handcuffed, and then I'm going to go and stand in the courtyard of the Muslim king and I will challenge him." So, what is the challenge? The challenge is that can you make stones and birds cry by singing Krishna's names? And then I'll tell him, "You cannot, but I can." And then Mahaprabhu said, "You still have doubt in your heart, Shrivas. So let me show you." And Narayani, who was the niece of Srivas Pandit, his brother's daughter, and Narayani was very young, 3, 4 years old only. And Mahaprabhu looked at her and said, "Narayani, say Krishna and cry." And instantly, that little girl with very heavy, choked voice, she said, "Ah, Krishna, ah, Krishna." And she was constantly crying. Then Srivas Pandit all of a sudden stood up and he said, "Now I am not afraid of anybody. Anybody, no matter what happens, I'm not afraid anymore." Out of love, sometimes devotees forget the power of the Lord. It is natural. Then Lord Himself comes to assure them that He is there to protect. And you will be very sad to hear when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Srivas Pandit couldn't tolerate the separation. So he also left Navadvip and went to Kumarhatta. He did not stay after that. Then comes another hook, which is about boldness in devotees. Rath Yatra and Mahaprabhu's darshan along with Jagannath is a feast to the eyes of devotees. And when the Rath was moving, Lord Chaitanya was dancing. And his dance is indescribable. How beautiful he dances with that body with golden color and just that gamcha on his body, clean shaven headed with that shikha and kanthi, raised large hands, big hands. And then Mahaprabhu's eyes, whose corners would touch the ears, that's like a petal, lotus petal, and crying copiously, Mahaprabhu sometimes fainting, sometimes shouting, sometimes just becoming stunned. That sort of a dance Srivas Pandit was enjoying. And the king of Jagannath Puri came to take darshan, and his prime minister was also with him. So the prime minister thought that Srivas Pandit is blocking the way of the king. So he patted on the back of Shrivas Pandit, basically telling him to get aside. Shrivas Pandit just took his right hand on the back and just pushed away his hand. He didn't even look back. Second time, he again did the same thing, and Shrivas Pandit just pushed away his hand. Third time, when he did it, Shrivas Pandit just turned around, slapped the Prime Minister, turned back, and started looking at the dance of Lord Chaitanya again. And Maharaj Prataprudra, the king, became so happy, and he said to the Prime Minister, "You do not know how fortunate you are, because you have been touched by the hand of a pure devotee of the Lord." Prime Minister had no idea. He had no understanding. He had no realization. But Maharaj Prataprudra knew who Srivas Pandit was. When it comes to preaching, Prabhupada said, devotees need to be bold, not careless, not beyond your capacity, but on the strength of the protection offered by the Lord. The devotee should stand for dharma. And last quality, though there are many, but I'm just saying the last one. Srivas Pandit once went to the assembly of a very learned scholar, Dayanand Pandit, and Dayanand Pandit recited a verse from Bhagavatam. He will have audience who are very highly educated, sophisticated. They would discuss things, and but Srivas Pandit, when he heard that verse from Bhagavatam, he started crying and sobbing. When he was sobbing, other not devotees, other audiences looked at him, and it was considered very low marketish to be sobbing amongst. So Dayanand Pandit didn't like it, and his students understood. So some of them went and they just gently picked up Srivas Pandit and took him out of the classroom. If it happens to any one of us, we would not like it at all. But Srivas Pandit's heart was very pure. So he thought, what a foolish person I am. Why did I go to such a scholarly audience, congregation? In fact, I disturbed Dayanand Pandit. And saying this, Srivas Pandit returned. Then he opened the book again, Bhagavatam, and opened that verse. But this time the happiness was 10 times more than what he read there. And Srivas Pandit was just floating in the bliss of that verse. But when Mahaprabhu showed for 21 hours Mahaprakash, where he gave Krishna Prem to all his associates, his devotees in Navadvip, so everyone thought Dayanand's number would definitely come. But it didn't come. Then devotees asked Mahaprabhu, that very scholarly Dayanand Pandit, and Lord Chaitanya got upset. He said, he will never get it. I am boldly announcing it. So they asked why, but he is such a figure. So he said, let him be happy with his scholarly, verbal jugglery. He has insulted my Shrivas, and therefore I will never give him Krishna Prem. And Srivas Pandit was like, me? When? I don't think he ever insulted me. Then Mahaprabhu reminded that Srivas, when the students pulled you out of those audience and pushed you away from that congregation, that was the insult. You are a saintly person, but I was very hurt. And in order to, you know, compensate for that, it was I who, sitting in your heart, gave you 10 times more bliss from the same verse that time. The message for all of us is sometimes bad things may happen, and Lord may punish, which we may not see. Krishna did not make the Anand Pandit a destitute. That no more congregation, nothing. Everything continued for him. He thought he is being opulent. But Krishna deprived him from Krishna Prem. At the same time, his devotee should not feel dejected So Lord Chaitanya gave 10 times more bliss to Shrivas Pandit. Many more pastimes are there, but I will now pause because I have already gone 6 minutes over. Let us pray today, its appearance day of Shrivas Pandit, that his love for Mahaprabhu is like an ocean, and a drop of that ocean is all we want, so that this can be our last life. And life, this may be or may not be, but may that love for Lord Chaitanya increase and increase and increase, and it never stops increasing. Everything else will automatically fall in place. When the heart is happy, you actually do not need anything outside. It's only when the heart is bored, unhappy, upset, that you start looking for sense based enjoyment. One who is happy, rejoicing inside, doesn't need anything outside. But how does one rejoice inside? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. By the intelligence that Krishna gives. And that intelligence, that bliss, Srivas Pandit has. He has the knack of pleasing Lord Chaitanya. And all the pastimes that I told you are the living proof. So let's offer our prostrated, most respectful obeisances and beg from him that one drop of the love that he has for Lord Chaitanya, so that we can do more chanting, we can do more Sankirtan, we can do more distribution and book distribution, and above all, you all can, after a couple of years, you all can start taking more such classes and give people what is being given to you right now. That's the ultimate purpose. Be happy and make others happy. Be happy by your own chanting, by your own reading, by serving Vaishnavas, by visiting dhams. Be happy and by honoring prasad. Making others happy via book distribution, temple services, charity, not, I mean, I'm talking about contributions for temples. And last but not most important is by preaching more and more. So, with that, I would pause here. Next week, we will definitely move ahead on the Bhagavad Gita where we were. I hope you all are satisfied and you liked. If somebody has any comment, correction, or any question, you can ask. In 2 minutes, we will wrap up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes?
I had one question. So you didn't mention how devotees they see they only see other devotees and their own misery does not affect them. Like how like he wasn't affected by his kid's death. But don't we also have the notion that we are like devotees supposed to be das and should be more humble than a blade of grass, and that's why should be humble towards everyone, which includes their kids.
It's not nothing to do with, it has got nothing to do with humility. And nor humility should be directed towards everyone. Uh, the ideal code of conduct is as follows. A Vaishnav, in four categories, he deals to the ones who are superior to him. He gives them respect and offers them pranam. With the equals, he makes friendship. With the ones inferior or junior to him, he grants mercy and he avoids the atheist and the envious. So there is no one plain vanilla blanket solution. We have to be, uh, you know, it's customized which section you are dealing with. And as far as the child is concerned, it is very difficult to understand Srivas Pandit's love for Lord Chaitanya. And it is therefore very natural to feel that he was heartless, sometimes even you may see atrocious, but it has got nothing to do with that. His child is, before he, the child became his child, The child belongs to Lord Chaitanya in every sense. So Mahaprabhu gave something and Mahaprabhu took it back. And Srivas Pandit's sole desire is to satisfy Mahaprabhu. So therefore he could say that. And similarly, when he slapped the prime minister, that also has got nothing to do. Srivas Pandit is humble when it is personal insult. A devotee has to be, humble when he is being insulted. But when your guru, when deity, when shastra, those things are getting insulted, then the injunction is that you should either commit suicide or chop off the tongue of the other person or leave the place. Chopping off doesn't mean you literally chop off. Chopping off means you silence him by the logic. Suicide also doesn't mean suicide. It means, feeling completely unworthy at that moment, that how unqualified I am, that I'm not able to protect. Better it would be that I die. And third is otherwise leave the place. So a devotee should learn to tolerate personal insult, and he should not tolerate insult to his master, insult to his guru, insult to Shastra. These are all injunctions given, Mataji, in the scriptures. I hope you got your answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. Thank you so much, all the devotees. Hare Krishna. See you all next week. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, श्री पंचतत्व भगवान की जय, श्रीवास पंडित की जय, श्रीवास पंडित अपीयरेंस डे की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीला गुरु महाराज की जय, निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. See you, all of you, next week.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll see this next week. Bhagavad Gita 42 onwards verse class will be taken. So I request everyone to join next week on